A great new Navy cruiser is about to be launched at the Bath Iron Works in Maine. The launching begins in the middle of the night with more than 200 shipyard workers driving wedges under the hull. These rallies on the wedges prepare the ship for her slide into the Kennebec River. There, tugboats are to catch CG-61, Monterey, and guide her safely into her outfitting berth. But on this morning in October, winds are gusting upwards of 40 knots, and sheets of rain are lashing the shipyard. Despite the weather, hundreds of hearty souls arrive for the ceremonies and learn that the actual launching will have to be delayed.
We had to make a decision about 3 a.m. as to whether or not wind conditions would be satisfactory to safely launch the ship. The conclusion was that conditions would not be safe today, and therefore we will have the invocation tomorrow morning before the launching, and the sponsor will christen the ship at 11:53 tomorrow morning.
In the 104-year history of Bath Iron Works, launchings have been delayed only twice before. But as the storm raged in the shipyards outside, the ceremonies continued at a lively pace. As principal speaker, U.S. Senator William S. Cohen set the tone of the event.
Our freedom has provided us with the opportunity for unprecedented economic prosperity. And fundamental to maintaining that prosperity is having free and open access to the corridors of commerce, the trade routes of the world. Because a cut in the sea lines of communication is equivalent to the cutoff of oxygen to our lungs. There is a new major Soviet book entitled The Navy, Its Role, Prospects for Development and Employment. The Soviets are setting goals to build submarines that can travel 50 to 60 knots underwater in the short term, ultimately 100 knots, while diving to depths of 2,000 meters, some 6,600 feet, carrying torpedoes that can travel 300 knots. It's clear to me that the Soviets are building a blue water navy in order to project power to distant lands, to be in a position to challenge our naval capability wherever they see that it's expedient to do so. Today's ceremony and launching of the Monterey, I think, is evidence that naval supremacy has been our history and will continue to be our future. We hope and pray that, like the victory at Monterey, for which this ship is named, she'll remain rough and ready to help us turn the tide for the Navy, the nation, and the free world.
The capture of the city of Monterey, Mexico, was a pivotal triumph in the war between Mexico and the United States. One of General Zachary Taylor's young soldiers, Samuel Chamberlain, recalled the battle with these watercolors. The assault began September 20th, 1846. The following day, the Americans captured the Bishop's Palace near the edge of the city. But the streets and open areas of the city were so heavily fortified that General Taylor's troops had to break down the interior walls of buildings and battle from house into house. On the morning of September 24th, 1846, they attained the Monterey Citadel, and the Mexican general, Pedro de Ampudia, surrendered. Because of young America's success in that battle, the very word Monterey has come to symbolize inspired victory, and several United States Navy ships have borne the famous Monterey name. The first was a screw steam tug, placed in service in 1863 and stricken from the Naval Vessel Register in 1892. The next was a monitor, commissioned in 1893 and decommissioned in 1921. It participated in the Spanish-American War and the Philippine insurrection. Here we see it in Canton Harbor among the local watercraft. During World War II, a light aircraft carrier, CVL-26, was christened Monterey and commissioned in 1943. She won 11 battle stars for her service in actions that ranged from supporting the capture of Macon to strikes on the Japanese home islands. The ship saw post-war service as a training carrier at Pensacola and was decommissioned in 1956. But this Monterey is still well remembered by her crew and their families.
I am very proud to have known a crew member of the last ship to bear the name Monterey, my grandfather, the ship's navigator during the war in the Pacific. On behalf of my father and the family of my grandfather, Captain Lewis J. Atwood, please accept this flag flown on the USS Monterey in 1944 with the knowledge that CG-61 will carry on the fine tradition of a fine ship.
Designing, building, and delivering ships is a tough business. Competition is fierce, and shipbuilding budgets are more and more constrained. You are well aware of that here at Bath Iron Works, and your enlightened response to several productivity, schedule, and design challenges augurs well for the future. The greatest example of this was a near 100% pre-outfitting of the mast of the Monterey, which allowed its erection without any staging and resulted in the savings of thousands of man-hours. To my knowledge, this is a first in naval shipbuilding.
The Aegis cruiser has brought the surface Navy into a very strengthened position vis-a-vis warfighting capability. Its tax dollars well spent, and a cruiser which will be used to maintain the peace, but if our worst fears are realized, will certainly acquit herself well in war.
And I'd like to pay respect to the great workmanship and the great men and women of Bath Iron Works, and I'm very proud that this company is in my district, because the best shipbuilders in the world truly are here at Bath Iron Works. I am honored, again, to have been invited, and wish you all the very, very best. Thank you.
Like her sister ships, the Monterey is one of the most advanced vessels built, a guided missile cruiser capable of sophisticated air and surface defense operations. We live in a dangerous world in a dangerous time. It is a time that demands a continuing investment in the modernization of our defense forces. We all share the hope that this year's successful negotiation of an arms agreement covering intermediate-range nuclear weapons will pave the way to broader arms agreements in the future. But even as we share that hope, we must recognize that our nation's security, the protection of our vital interests, depends on our strength at sea.
On the following morning, the sky has cleared and the winds have become breezy. At 11:53 at high tide, the new ship can be released into her natural element.
Hear us, O Lord, as we commend to your gracious care in keeping all the men and women of our country's Navy. May you bless this ship and all those who will sail in her. May they see the wonders of the deep and always invite your hand to steady her course. Watch over their families in times of separation. And may her voyages be made in safety, and may she always travel in peaceful waters.
Bobby Bourget has seen 100 ships built at the Bath Iron Works. Today, when Monterey's sponsor, Mrs. Sally Hardesty, christens the ship with champagne on the bow, Bobby will pull the trigger that starts the ship down the ways.
I christen you the United States ship Monterey. Wish you fair winds, following seas, and Godspeed. Okay, here we go.
These great ships because we know that to preserve freedom and the hope of peace, we must be prepared to defend freedom. for without freedom, there cannot be real peace. So we prepare for the worst, even as we work for the best. This great vessel will be launched in the hope that her guns need never be fired in anger. Like all of our fleet, she is launched for the defense of freedom. May she sail in peace and freedom throughout the world.